During the Great Depression, millions of Americans were suddenly stripped of security, savings, and shelter. Yet some people survived, and even thrived, in ways that modern observers find astonishing. Among them were the Hobos, itinerant workers who rode freight trains, slept in boxcars, and relied on wits over wealth. These men and women had no access to stores, banks, or social programs. What they did have was ingenuity, resourcefulness, and an uncanny ability to find value where others saw trash. Their survival wasn't accidental. It was a learned system of scavenging, bartering, and improvisation that can still teach us vital lessons today. Hobos didn't just scavenge. They observed the patterns of life. Survival in the Depression wasn't about desperation alone. It was about observation. Hobos studied towns, train schedules, and human behavior to know exactly where to find food, materials, and opportunities. They didn't wander aimlessly. They learned which factories discarded raw materials, which restaurants threw away perfectly usable scraps, and which markets closed at predictable times. For modern survivalists, this principle translates directly into situational awareness. Understanding patterns of human activity allows you to plan resource collection efficiently. Just as hobos knew the timing of a butcher's waste or a bakery's unsold bread, a prepper today might monitor farmers' markets, community compost bins, or even local recycling centres to gather usable materials. The key is consistency and attention, knowing when and where resources appear, and moving accordingly. Hobos also developed a mental map of each town they visited. They memorized alleyways, back entrances, and hidden nooks. This knowledge of the lay of the land ensured safety, minimized risk, and maximized access to resources. Anyone practicing urban survival today can learn from this. A mental blueprint of your environment increases efficiency and reduces wasted energy. One of the most remarkable aspects of hobo ingenuity was their ability to repurpose waste. Tin cans became stoves and cooking vessels. Wooden crates transformed into makeshift shelters or carts. Clothing from dumpsters was repaired and layered for warmth. Even cardboard boxes became insulation against wet floors or cold nights. This wasn't random scavenging. It was systematic improvisation. Each object was evaluated for durability, portability, and versatility. Hobos often carried multi-purpose items that could serve as bedding, protection, cooking implements, and storage. Applying this lesson today is, well, quite simple. Start seeing value in what others discard. Collect containers, scraps, and textiles that can be repurposed in survival contexts. A discarded tin can could become a fire starter, a water container, or even a cooking pot. Wood scraps, can reinforce a shelter or help create tools. The principle here is efficiency. One object, multiple functions. Survival wasn't solely physical, it was social. Hobos relied heavily on informal networks to exchange information, food, and materials. Railroad cards or simple word-of-mouth communications told them which towns were friendly, which employers were hiring day labour, and where resources could be found. For the modern survivalist, this highlights the importance of creating a trusted network. It's not just about hoarding supplies, it's about knowing allies, sharing information, and leveraging social resources. A small group of like-minded individuals can, multiply effectiveness, much like Depression-era networks helped hobos find work, food and shelter more reliably than travelling alone. Bartering also extended to practical items. A hobo might trade a repaired shoe for a warm blanket, or a canned good for advice about a safe rail route. Every object or skill was currency. Today, even in low-resource environments, the same principle applies. Skills, knowledge, and versatile items often carry more survival value than cash. Hobos were, real experts at building shelters that were quick, efficient, and camouflaged. They slept under bridges, in empty boxcars, or behind factory walls, wherever they could find a bit of safety and warmth. Cardboard layers, wood scraps and blankets were strategically used to retain warmth and repel moisture. Some even constructed small, portable bivouacs that could be packed and moved quickly when conditions changed. The lesson for modern enthusiasts is that shelter doesn't need to be elaborate. It needs to be adaptable. A layered approach works best. A waterproof base, insulating layers, and wind protection. Materials can be scavenged from everyday urban or rural environments, really, if you just know where to look. By observing how hobos prioritized warmth, dryness and concealment, we can recreate survival shelters that are lightweight, portable and effective. It's all about learning from their ingenuity, isn't it? Hobos survived not just on scraps, but on highly strategic consumption. They understood caloric density, seasonality and preservation, something we often overlook today. Beans, dried fruits and leftover bakery items were carefully rationed. They sometimes harvested wild plants, berries or fish when accessible, integrating natural resources with urban scavenging. It's a testament to their resourcefulness and, their will to survive. Even today, prepper communities can apply this principle. Combining urban scavenging with local natural resources really creates redundancy and resilience. Knowing what is safe to eat, how to store it, and how to stretch it over multiple days, that mirrors the survival strategies hobos employed instinctively. The hobos of the Great Depression remind us that survival is about perception, adaptability, and, of course, ingenuity. They didn't need wealth, they needed creativity. They transformed waste into fuel, trash into tools, and observation into opportunity. Every action was deliberate, from knowing where to scavenge, to how to store heat, to forming temporary alliances with other travellers. For anyone studying history or preparing for self-reliance, their lessons are timeless. By combining situational awareness, multi-use resources and social networking, modern survivalists can replicate a fraction of the efficiency that kept thousands alive during the harshest economic times in American history. The Great Depression wasn't just a test of economy, it was a test of human ingenuity. Hobos survived because they saw potential where others saw despair. That same mindset can empower us today, whether navigating wilderness, urban scarcity, or emergency situations. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Depression-era survival strategies, make sure to subscribe to Echoes of Valor and share this video with fellow history enthusiasts. Learning from the past isn't just educational. It's practical, empowering, and in some cases, life-saving.